If you know anything about me, you know I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. Bella, sit. Sit. If you know anything about me, you know I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. Many of the things in my life that have been positive have come through the decade that I lived in Nebraska. Part of that period in Nebraska was living at a camp called Epply. This was a Salvation Army camp where during the summers, kids from all over the western area of the United States would go to, and they would spend their summers there. There's music camps, boys camps, girls camps, and plenty of other ones. But for almost 10 years, I lived and worked at that camp every summer. I grew up there. You know, my first summer I was 12. My last summer that I was there, I was 19. I spent a lot of time there. I went from being a child to being a young man while working at that camp. And while I was at that camp every summer, the internet basically sucked. You couldn't get on YouTube all the time. You couldn't text or call all the time because there wasn't really any service. So you were left to your own devices. You're left to books. You're left to whatever movies you have and whatever video games you could bring for a console. I stuck with books and whatever movies I had because I didn't have enough money to buy a console at that point. But a lot of the stuff I read was filmmaking books. During the summers, I'd practice as much as I could on certain filming techniques. I always liked making short films. I made several on an old channel that no longer exists, but there is one in particular that I think highlights Epply Camp, and that's my short film called Manhunt. So as I said before, for the past decade, every summer I've been living at the Epply Camp, and it's been very impactful on me. And like I said before that, is if you know anything about me, you know I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. But if you know anything about Nebraska, it's prone to flooding, especially on the eastern part, bordering Iowa. There's a large river there, and it tends to flood quite often. Now, Epply Camp is roughly 100 years old and is built right next to a levee on the Platte River. The camp is more or less built on sand, so anytime the water level goes up too high on the other side of the levee, it travels underneath and fills up during the camp. There's one year the EPA actually came to the camp and told us that we were a wetland and weren't allowed to build for so many years. That ended as soon as it all dried up and we had a bunch of dead fish on our baseball field. Nonetheless, it was prone to flooding. For years, we were able to cover that up, fix it, rebuild, make the levee bigger, and adapt to the changing flooding conditions. If you're at all aware of what's going on in Nebraska right now, we are having severe flooding that I have never seen in my lifetime, and hopefully my children will never have to see in their lifetime. It's around estimated $1 billion so far as to what it will cost to repair all the damage they've done. Tens of thousands of acres have been lost to the flooding. People's livelihoods, homes, their families, all been taken away or torn apart by this flooding. And there are some places that will never be able to be repaired or brought back. And Epply Camp is one of those. As of yesterday, it was confirmed that the camp is completely submerged underwater. The highest point on camp is the top of the dining hall. That is the only thing that is slightly visible from drone footage above the camp. Everything is destroyed. Everything is ruined. New building, old buildings, trails that I've built, the forest we have, our pond, our baseball field. It's washed away. It's gone. None of it will be able to be salvaged or rebuilt. And that camp has taught me a lot of valuable skills in my life. It's got me to network with some people. I've met amazing people while working at that camp. One of the things that camp helped me do was establish this YouTube channel. I created it while working at that camp, and it's been my passion project ever since then. Something that I truly care about. And it hurts to see that the camp is gone. But as some other people say, as one chapter closes, another opens. So in honor of Epply's end, the closing of its book, I'd like to relive a highlight. And so I'm going to re-upload my manhunt video. Now this isn't some cinematic masterpiece, but it was a lot of hard work and a lot of time spent creating something. I used all the knowledge I had and a 9 megapixel camera to shoot all these scenes. Some of the scenes you see might look like it was a GoPro. No, it was we duct taped a camera to someone's face, or we duct taped it to a gun. Any dolly footage or anything that looks like it was an After Effect was kind of done in camera. So it was a major feat and success for my coworkers and me to see this film made and finished. Even though we didn't technically finish it, that's why it became a to be continued 2-part thing. It was a fun thing to do, and I'd love for any of you that watch my channel now to be able to see that again, or see it for the first time. So with that, I hope you enjoy it.
think he's telling the truth.
No, he's not.
You don't know that.
I'm positive.
The password could be anything.
He's telling the truth, man.
You leave him alone! She's telling the truth.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
I know he has the password.
He doesn't
Of course
have the
he
password.
He has the password.
I chased him all the way through the woods. Where were you at? I don't think he has the password.
He has the password.
How do you know?
I'm positive he has the password.
Sure he doesn't have it.
He has it.
He doesn't have it.
I'm pretty sure he does.
Have it.
He does have it.
He does not have it.
If I have to beat it out of him, I will.
You already tried that. Didn't work.
I'll do it again, and again, and again.
Well, thank you guys for watching this short film that we named Manhunt. Hopefully someday I'll be able to make a sequel to it, but until then, I appreciate you stopping in and viewing it. It means a lot to me and my old coworkers and friends that took the time to put it together. It means a lot that you watched it because it's in honor of Gene Epply Camp, a camp that's affected many of people's lives and has helped them to grow and mature and be more developed in the world we live in. So thank you for watching, and please stay tuned for another video later this week.